Okay, so we're going to move on to example 3 now, where I'm asking you to make a table for a function. And what that means is I'm going to supply you with the domain, and if I were to ask you the domain of the function y equals 2x, that's our function, and the domain that's given is 0, 2, 5, and 7. It's going to ask you to identify the range. Okay? So one thing to think about is, in the way that it's explained in very elementary terms, is this is like a little magic machine in here, and this is a little conveyor belt that keeps moving. And I take an input, because remember your domain is also considered your input. And if I input one of these x values and it goes inside of this little machine, when this 0 gets in here, which is x, it gets multiplied by the 2, and the output is the resulting y value from what you get after that 0 has been substituted in. So you really are doing 2 times 0, so your y value is going to be 0 as well. If we input a 2, y is going to equal 2 times 2, your output would be 4. So it's asking you to make a table, and at this point I'm going to let you choose whether you would like to make your table vertical or horizontal, and you're just going to fill in the given domains. And again, you could do it this way. You need to be familiar with both. And the output was 0 when the input was 0. When the input was 2, your output was 4. So basically what you're doing is just multiplying all of your x values by 2 to get your output, which is your y value. And that's where the function y equals 2x comes from. Okay? Now, example 4 is going to ask you to actually go backwards. I'm going to give you the table and ask you to write the function rule from it. So if we were to have our xy table, and the values were 0, 2, 1, 3, we're at 4, 6, 6, 8, and our last one would be 10, 12. So we look here, and we need to let x be the input, and we need to find out what is happening. And if you remember from last year, we're going to kind of rely on some of our information from last year. And we know associated fees and real-world examples talk about a startup fee. So if we were to assign, say, the number of CDs that you purchased, and y is your cost. 0 CDs cost you $2. That would mean that there is a $2 startup fee to enter the CD purchasing club, or actually would probably be more appropriate for this day and age is apps. They say you're going to purchase this many apps and it costs this. So you're in a club, and the initial fee is, we'll just put dollars to it, $2. Okay? And then we're looking for your rate of change. And what's happening here is it's going up by 1 here, and it went up by 3 here, but it went up 3 because the number of apps went up 3. It went up 2 here for 2. So what's happening is for every 3 it goes up your price, that goes up the number of apps, which means that you would divide this by this, and your rate of change would be equal to 1. If this went up 4, for this going up 4, then your rate of change would be 1. So we know that their y equals mx plus b, which we're getting into in chapter 5. But again, you should have had a good background of this from last year, so you should be able to tell me that the initial value is 2, and the rate of change is 1, and you don't need to write anything there, no coefficient. And let's talk about what this means verbally. It means that your output, which is all of these y's and your range here, is basically equal to whatever your x is plus 2. So what is this plus 2? 3. 4 plus 2. 6 plus 2. 10 plus 2. And this is the rule that fits that table. Okay? Let's see about this one. X, Y. This is where we're going to start with 1 and 2 and 4 and 7. And we're going to have 0, 1, 3, and 6. Okay? So it looks like for every one that it's going up, because when you have two that are back to back like that and in a row, it kind of luck out. Because what that means is for every one, it's going up 1. So there's our rate of change again of 1. Okay? Except now I need to kind of figure out if it's going up 1 this way, I kind of need to go back 1 to find my starting value. And if I go back 1 from 0, I get to -1. And that would be our rule for that table. So each one of your x values is 1, or each one of your y values rather, is 1 less than your x. 2 and then -1. 4 -1, 7 -1. Okay? We have one more example, and that's going to get us to example 5, which is the real world example. And you're going to a ticket, or to a concert, and you're going to buy some tickets. And tickets cost $15 each for a concert. Okay? You can buy up to 6 tickets. That's the restriction on this site. You can buy up to 6 tickets. Write the amount in dollars that you can spend as a function of the number of tickets. So we're going to use a verbal model for this. So if this is the amount that you can spend in dollars, that should equal the cost per ticket, right? And how many tickets, and how much are the tickets? They're $15, and how many can you buy? So how many purchased? Okay, remember we talked about verbal models really help us kind of set this equation up. So if A is the amount that we're looking for, that you're spending, we'll give that a capital A. And the cost per ticket we know is 15 according to our information. And how many tickets can you purchase? Well, I know it says up to 6, but that's what we're going to say. We use the variables. We'll say N. N could be the number of tickets that you purchased. So it seems kind of a long around a way to get there, but does this make sense to you? The amount that you're going to spend is equal to $15 times however many tickets you buy. If you buy 6, put 6 in there. If you're going to buy 10, put 10 in there. Multiply it by 15. There's your amount that you would owe. Okay? Then it says to make a table based on this function, okay? And I know normally we would do an X and a Y, and I know that you guys know from last year that we always will say the Y equals. So this Y, we're going to say, is actually going to be our A, which is our amount that we spend. And our N is going to be the number of tickets. So if you spend $0, how much do you owe this place? Or if you buy 0 tickets, rather, you don't owe them anything. If you buy 1 ticket, you owe them 15. If you buy 2 tickets, 30, and your rate of change is 15, which means that for every 1 ticket you purchase, your cost goes up $15. The directions in the homework will specify how far they want your domain, which is, remember, your X values, how much they want it to go up to, and then you go from there. All right, we'll work on our homework then in class tomorrow.